What is going on, guys? It is Ketch back with another video on the channel, and I thought today I'd sort of steer a little bit differently in terms of a direction for today's video. It'll be on a wrestling related topic, but it's one of probably a bit more of a sensitive sort of nature. It's the fact that Brock Lesnar is being erased from the WWE in its entirety, and I'll explain throughout this video. So you're probably wondering, why is Brock Lesnar being erased by the WWE? Well, it's very, very simple. I'll explain. So Brock Lesnar was supposed to be part of the Royal Rumble a couple weeks ago, and of course a part of WrestleMania season like he normally is. Unfortunately for Brock Lesnar, there was a lawsuit filed against Vince McMahon and WWE to a lesser extent by a former employee of WWE. Her name was Janelle Grant, who worked at the global headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut between 2019 and 2022. Grant alleged that WWE co-founder Vince McMahon had coerced her into a sexual relationship, and along with WWE executive John Laurinaitis and a WWE wrestler who was also a former UFC fighter who was not named in the suit, explicitly not named in the suit, sexually trafficked her and repeatedly sexually assaulted her during 2020 to 2021. While the WWE UFC talent in question was not named in the lawsuit, he was later identified by the Wall Street Journal as Brock Lesnar. Now, this is very, very important. Because of this lawsuit now against Brock Lesnar, he was removed from the Royal Rumble event and was replaced by Bron Breakker, who's an NXT starlet, I should say, an NXT starlet at the moment. Bron Breakker was thrown over the top rope by Dominic Mysterio. That spot would have been Brock Lesnar as a way to build the match against Dominic Mysterio at Elimination Chamber in Perth, which is happening in a couple weeks' time. Unfortunately, because of this sexual assault lawsuit now, WWE's creative plans had to change for the WrestleMania event as well as the Royal Rumble. So Lesnar was originally slated to have a match against the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion Gunther at WrestleMania 40, but now because of these allegations, he will no longer have that match against Gunther, which is a bit of a shame, but you can understand WWE's, I guess, stance on the whole situation. They want to sort of distance themselves from it, and they have to a degree by erasing him from certain areas of WWE, and I'll explain that a little bit further. But to elaborate a bit more on what aspects of WWE he's being erased from, every mention of Lesnar has been removed. So if you were paying attention in the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar actually holds the record for most people thrown out in a Royal Rumble match with 13, and he's also one of the few two-time winners of the Royal Rumble event, having won in 2003 and 2022. However, both of these facts were not mentioned in the by the numbers video that WWE aired before the men's Royal Rumble and throughout. They had mentioned him in that package before this lawsuit came out, but since this lawsuit came out, there was no mention of him in that specific video. Also, he's been removed from the WWE Supercard video game, and he was on the cover of the WWE 2K24 40 Years of WrestleMania edition. He's now since been removed from that cover, and John Cena has taken his place on that cover. He was also removed from the WWE intro, the Then Now Forever intro that they do before every Raw, before every event really, and he's been replaced by LA Knight in that video package. So WWE are going to great lengths to sort of distance themselves from Lesnar in this scenario, which is really kind of sad considering the status of Brock Lesnar, who he is, and how much of an attraction he is, I guess is the right word. But given the very sensitive nature of this lawsuit, it's probably a good idea that WWE distance themselves from it until it's been resolved. It could be the fact that Brock Lesnar might not be it, even though the Wall Street Journal did identify that person as Brock Lesnar, but to be perfectly honest, it really can't be anyone else. The timeline doesn't match up with anyone else. It sort of lines up with Lesnar only, which is in itself a whole nother can of worms, which I don't really want to get into, specifically because Lesnar is in fact married as well, so that's quite bizarre. But I think it all comes down to the fact that Vince McMahon is a very, very odd and sick individual, I guess is the right way to sort of describe him. Whatever happens to Vince McMahon is probably justified considering what I've seen. I won't share those explicit texts because they are quite graphic in terms of what was said and the nature surrounding him, but the whole idea of Vince McMahon being sued is probably the right thing to sort of get these things out there, but unfortunately it's also meant the pretty much total erasure of Brock Lesnar from all WWE programming as of now. He might still be found not guilty throughout this whole thing, but I think his reputation is a bit tarnished at the moment, and it's really sad considering how he finished his last match at SummerSlam 2023 against Cody Rhodes, in laying down for Cody Rhodes, taking the pin and then raising his arm after the bell, which is something that Brock hadn't even planned. He just did it on the fly. But I think it also sort of determines how much of a good worker Brock is and wanting to sort of put Cody front and center before riding off into the sunset. And as I did mention, he was scheduled to come back for WrestleMania season, but because of this lawsuit and the nature surrounding it, he's been since removed and pretty much erased from all WWE programming as of now. So we'll see what happens, I guess, but I don't know where next Brock goes from here. Obviously, I think the first protocol will trying to clear his name in the courtroom, and then see where he goes from there, because it could be anything really. And he could be potentially looking at a jail sentence. I think Vince McMahon is definitely looking at a jail sentence if found guilty, of course, but yeah, you just never know. These things have a weird way of biting people in the backside, and and someone like Vince McMahon, I think he deserves it, just as some of the things he's done in the past. It's almost like his comeuppance or his karma, if you will. But I guess we'll have to wait and see to see what actually happens throughout the rest of this lawsuit. And I just wanted to clarify that sexual assault and the allegations being put forward against Vince McMahon and WWE are very, very serious, and I do hope the right measures are found, and I hope the victim, in this case Janelle Grant, is given a lot of help and direction in how she moves about with her life moving forward, as it is a serious crime and serious nature, and I hope she recovers well and is able to live a better life out of this. That's been the end of this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please do like, share and subscribe so you never miss another upload, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Have a good one, guys. See ya. Bye bye.